Welcome to Day 1. Before we get into anything, I want to tell you what this program actually is, and what it isn't. This isn't a philosophy lecture. You're not going to be tested on ancient Greek terminology, and you don't need to remember anyone's name. What this is a practice. 14 days of specific, concrete things you can do today, tomorrow, and the day after that come from one of the most tested systems of thinking ever developed. People have used these ideas to survive war, exile, the death of children, political persecution, and the slow, grinding difficulty of ordinary life. And what you're going to find, probably starting today, is that they work just as well when you're stuck in traffic and someone cuts you off, or when your boss takes credit for your work, or when you lie awake at 3 in the morning running through a conversation you had 6 years ago. There's one idea at the core of all of this, one distinction that, once you actually see it clearly, changes how you move through the world. Some things are in your control, and some things are not. That sounds obvious, and you've probably heard some version of it before. But most people who've heard this haven't actually applied it, because applying it is, honestly, uncomfortable. First, let me give you 3 examples. You prepare for a job interview. You sleep well. You walk in feeling ready. But then something changes. The panel seems unimpressed, and you leave uncertain. A week later, you don't get the job. What was in your control? Your preparation? Your sleep? How you answered with what you had? Your honesty? Your presence in the room? What wasn't? Whether they liked you? What other candidates they'd already seen? Whether the decision was made before you walked in? Internal changes you knew nothing about. And most people spend their energy on that second list, replaying the interview, wondering what they should have said differently, checking LinkedIn to see who got it instead. Now think about a message you sent to a friend, a partner, a colleague, something that had been building for a while. You were honest, you were clear, you said what you meant, and they didn't respond the way you hoped. What was in your control? What you said, how you said it, the honesty you brought? What wasn't? How they received it, what mood they were in, what history they brought to it that had nothing to do with you. And yet, how much time do people spend going over what they should have said differently, trying to decode another person's response? One last example. You put real effort into something, a project, a piece of work, something creative. You share it. People don't respond, or some respond badly. What was in your control? The work, the care you put into it, the decision to share it at all, which took courage. What wasn't? The timing, the algorithm, other people's taste, whether the right person happened to see it. None of that was ever in your hands. Now, this is where people sometimes get it wrong. Stoicism is not asking you to stop caring. It's not asking you to be indifferent to outcomes, or to pretend that disappointment doesn't hurt. It's asking something much more specific, to put your energy where it can actually do something. When you pour mental energy into things outside your control, you become reactive, anxious, and you make decisions driven by fear of outcomes you can't influence. But when you focus on what is genuinely yours, your choices, your effort, your attention, your response, you become, over time, harder to knock over. Not because bad things stop happening, but because the bad things are no longer in charge of your inner state. So here's what I want you to do today. Write down 3 things that are causing you stress or anxiety right now. They can be big or small: work, a relationship, money, health, something you said, something coming up. Next to each one, write two things. What part of this is inside my control, and what part is not? Be honest. Not what you wish you could control, what you actually can. Most people find, when they do this properly, that the majority of what they're carrying belongs in that second column. And that means you can finally see what you're dealing with. Tonight, before you go to sleep, read this one line, just once. Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. I'll see you tomorrow.